following program is a production of Hōʻike Kauaʻi Community Media.
Aloha, and welcome to this special series of interviews with your Kauaʻi County Council candidates. I'm Lexi Jones, the Vice Chair of Hōʻike Community Television.
And I'm Mark Perriello, President at the Kauai Chamber of Commerce. We're honored to bring you these conversations, giving each candidate the opportunity to share their vision for our island's future.
Today, we'll be speaking with ARRYL KANESHIRO, who's eager to share his ideas and plans for our community. These interviews are an important part of our democratic process, giving you the chance to learn about who's running and why.
And our hope is that these conversations inspire you to engage in the process and to vote. Every voice matters, and your voice is crucial in shaping the future of Kauai.
So let's dive in. Please join us in welcoming ARRYL to the conversation.
Hey, ARRYL.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Yeah, we're glad to be here with you. So let's dive in to the first question. So please tell the audience about yourself and why you are taking on the kuleana of leadership in our community.
Yeah, so again, my name's ARRYL KANESHIRO. I was born and raised here on Kauaʻi. I went to Koloa Elementary School. I graduated from Kauai High School, and I went off to college at Pacific University in Forest Grove, Oregon. Graduated from there, and then I worked in Oregon for 4 years at a CPA firm. While there, I earned my CPA, became a certified public accountant. And after 4 years, I had to decide, what I wanted to do. Did I want to stay up there? Did I want to move home? And eventually I made the decision to move home, be closer to family. And so I came home. I worked for a grow farm company for almost 14 years, doing property management. Also, I helped my dad at our ranch. When I first moved home, we had about 300 sheep on the ranch. Now we manage almost 1,200 sheep. Wow. So the herd's grown a lot. I'm married. I have 2 girls, 5 and 3, and we have one on the way in October.
Yeah.
Another girl.
All right.
Wow.
So I'll be completely outnumbered soon.
Yeah, you will.
In addition to that, I'm heavily involved in the community. I'm the president for Koloa Plantation Days. I'm the vice president for Kiwanis. I'm a treasurer for Aina Ho'okupo Kilauea. I'm a treasurer for East Kauai Soil and Water Conservation. And I'm a board member for KEO. Oh, and I also ran for council and was on the county council for 8 years. Okay. I was the budget and finance chair, controlled the budget or headed the budget for 8 years. I was a council chair for 4 years. And so I reached my term limit. I had to sit out this last term, but now I can run again. And so that's what I'm doing. Your question, why am I running or taking on this leadership responsibility? And I think it does come down to, feeling responsible. Again, I was born and raised here, and I want to preserve the values and the lifestyle that I grew up with. And, there's a lot of people that are probably smarter than me or maybe better at me at being on county council, but it's hard to get elected. And if the voters have the confidence in me representing them on the county council, then it is my responsibility to be there and try to preserve the values that we all grew up with. And for me, I feel like I can do that. I'm a person that can try and preserve those values that we grew up with. And, Kauai is gonna grow, but it's a matter of how are we gonna grow.
All right. Thank you, ARRYL.
Great. Well, diving into our first hot topic of the conversation, of course, is housing affordability. Kauai faces a significant challenge in providing affordable housing for its residents. The demand of affordable workforce housing continues to outpace supply, while rising housing costs and the prevalence of off-island investment exacerbate the issue. The community has explored various strategies to address these challenges, including increasing supply of affordable housing, providing rental assistance, and supporting community land trusts. Now the question is, given the ongoing housing crisis on Kauai, what specific strategies would you prioritize to increase housing affordability, and how would you work to implement these strategies as a member of County Council?
Yeah, so the whole time I've been running or have ran, housing has always been an issue. And I think we've done a lot on the forefront of low-income housing. There's projects in Koloa, Kauaʻi, there's Limaola and Ele'ele, there's Waimea Huaka'i and Waimea. There's new projects coming up. Oh, there's the project in Uluko. There's Kealaula, which was a project that took actually homeless people off the streets and into homes. And there's a bunch more projects that are coming online also. Limaola has a lot more phases to go. Port Allen has a project that Makani is working on. Out here in Lihui, Craig Watase has a project right across Taco Bell that's going on. And I believe the CPB building near the county building also has a project that's going on. And all those projects are going to be low income housing. And so as I sit back, I think we've done a lot of work on low income housing, but the housing that we need to concentrate on and really focus on coming up is workforce housing. And that is housing for people that make too much money to afford, too much money to be considered low income, and don't make enough money to purchase whatever the housing market price is now, like 1.2 million, 1.3. They can probably afford the mortgage, but they can't afford the down payment, you know, and not a lot of people can afford a $1.3 million house or whatever median house price is right now. And so that is the market that we're really gonna have to concentrate on. And, you know, I think we have opportunities for that. We purchased land in Waimea 400. We purchased land in Kilauea and condemned some land in Kilauea for the county. And I think on those types of projects, we're really gonna have to control what we wanna see. And in that case, it's gonna be, we want to see housing for these people that are getting left out. It's, you know, basically the middle class families that are working 2 jobs, can't move out of their parents' house because they can't find a house, the supply is short, or the housing's too expensive. And that's really what we're gonna have to focus on. And, you know, the county's probably gonna have to pay some money to try to get that type of housing in there. You know, other things we can work on is also providing the infrastructure, because I think we're really lacking infrastructure to get housing where we need it also. We don't control water, but we need to work really closely with water and making sure that, you know, when we're planning where do we want housing, we actually have water available for that housing. Because you can plan all you want for a certain area. If there's no water available, then you're pretty much back to square one. And I believe wastewater too is another one that we really got to concentrate on and start putting more resources towards to really getting housing going, and for that specific type of housing that we want.
So I'm going to ask a follow-up question. So there are folks on island who, like all of us, right, want to preserve what makes this place so incredible and so magical, but they do it in a way, in such a way that they sue, right, to prevent those water pipes from going in, to prevent the infrastructure from expanding. And I wonder if you have any thoughts on how the county can sort of work with folks to sort of maybe bring them along, or how we engage in folks who are suing the county to prevent the infrastructure which is necessary for the housing.
I think the public has to realize what's going on. You know, those projects aren't preventing this big development. They're preventing affordable housing right now. I think the project's called Kohealoa and Hanamalu. They have a whole nother phase that they can do, but they don't have water because their project got sued. And so I think, you know, the public really has to wake up and understand, you know, what some of these groups are trying to do. They're preventing all housing, and that's completely exacerbating the problem we're already in, where we don't have any supply. And so we really gotta understand, you know, what are the ramifications of, you know, groups that may be fighting certain things like that, and are we okay with that? Are we okay with saying, fine, let's not upgrade any of our water systems, but then we're not gonna have any water for housing?
Right.
And we gotta understand that, and we need to be okay with it. On the other hand, I mean, for me, I'll always fight for us to, you know, reasonably try and upgrade our infrastructure. You know, we've went through all of these community plans, and, you know, with the community plans, we worked with many people in those communities, and we focused on, we know that Kauaʻi needs to grow. We know that we need housing. So a lot of community plans wasn't on, we don't want any housing, we don't want any infrastructure. It was, where do we want this housing? Where do we want to see growth?
Yep.
And that's where a lot of these community plans focused on and were passed.
Yep.
And so groups that come in and then try to protest water going to a certain area need to understand that that was all part of a big plan to try and focus on what the community wanted. The community wanted housing in Lihui, in the town core.
Right.
And so, you know, we really do maybe need to be a little more vigilant too on those types of things as a community, as government, as a public.
Yeah, thank you, ARRYL. On the next question.
Yes.
All right. So economic diversification is the next topic. Kauai's economy, as you know, and as all of our viewers know, has long relied on tourism, which leaves the island vulnerable to economic downturns, like we saw during the pandemic. There is a growing need to diversify the economy to create more resilient and sustainable economic opportunities for our residents. Potential sectors for diversification include agriculture, technology, healthcare, renewable energy, and the arts. What is your vision for economic diversification on Kauai, and which sectors do you believe hold the most promise for our island's future?
Economic diversification. It's a tough one because I think we've always talked about it. Then during COVID, we realized, I mean, we already knew how dependent we were on the tourism industry. COVID completely showed us how vulnerable we were to the tourism industry. Now that we've recovered, I still don't think we're going to be able to completely get away from that. You know, tourist dollars don't only support hotels, it supports all these businesses that go along with it. It supports restaurants, it supports, you know, activities that people take part in, boat tours, all these other businesses. And so when it comes to economic diversity, I don't think we're going to be able to completely remove ourselves from tourism. We need that tourist dollar to come in. We saw during COVID, Kauai cannot sustain itself. If it was just Kauai, 70,000 residents or 75,000 residents, we're not able to earn enough and spend enough money to keep every business open. You know, the tourism dollars coming in help supplement a lot of these businesses from us residents having to spend. And so when it comes to economic diversity, I think, you know, it's tough. Agriculture, I do see as a strong sector. You see people like maybe Will Lidgate, who's, you know, really taking his product a lot further. He took his chocolate farm tours to now his chocolate's winning all these awards. I think that's what it's going to take for us to be able to kind of release ourselves. We're going to have to try and market our products outside of Kauai, whether it's on Oahu, within the state, or to the mainland, or international. Because, I mean, Kauai is only so small, you know, whether that's in technology and you're able to do something from home, whether it's agriculture where you're providing a special niche product to Japan that someone wants, or you're creating a product that someone else wants. I think that's the way that we're going to have to diversify. We're going to have to look outside of Kauai and see what type of markets can we touch outside of Kauai. Maybe it's online sales, maybe it's value-added products. But I think that's one of the only ways. And then, of course, looking back at what services does Kauai need now? You know, there's lots of businesses right now that can't even find workers.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, there is opportunity to work. It's just, what do you want to do?
All right, thank you.
Great. Well, continuing forward, the next topic would be climate change and environmental sustainability. Now, we know Kauai is particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, including coastal erosions, extreme weather events, and threats to natural habitats. Kauai has explored various strategies, including coastal protection, renewable energy adoption, waste reduction, and sustainable agriculture. So the question would be, how would you address climate change and promote environmental sustainability on Kauai?
Yeah, so as far as if I was on the county council, I don't necessarily think it's something legislative that we would be passing laws on. I think there's some things we can do and work with the planning department or whatever on, you know, maybe making houses higher in flood zones, or not letting houses be built so close to the coastline. But at the end of the day, I think the way that we battle climate change is to just make our individual communities more resilient. You know, we've already saw how many more flood events we've had, major fire events, natural disasters. I think the best way that we can be prepared is to look at our individual communities, make sure that they have the resources they need, you know, that if they're cut off, they can survive as long as they need to before we can get more help there. And also helping individuals, you know, making sure that individuals are prepared for these natural disasters also. So I really think the way we adjust to climate change is by creating resilient communities, resilient individuals on Kauai.
Cool. Thank you, ARRYL. Shifting gears to transportation. While visitors contribute to traffic congestion on Kauai, the surge in traffic when schools resumed in August underscores the impact of resident commuters on our island's transportation system. In addition to infrastructure improvements, Kauai has been exploring various efforts to reduce traffic congestion, such as developing safer bike lanes, or any bike lanes, encouraging walking through the improved sidewalks and pathways, and expanding bus services. However, our island's rural nature and our dependence on cars present unique challenges. What solutions to ease traffic congestion resonate most with you? And how can we reduce reliance on single occupancy vehicles and expand alternative transportation methods that are accessible and appealing to residents?
Okay, so I'm not going to be the traffic expert because I can tell you I held sign by KCC one day from 4 to I think it was almost 5:30 or 6.
Yeah.
And there was not a lot of traffic. And I think it was a Thursday. No school.
Yeah, all right.
And traffic was very sporadic. I thought it was so weird. Where's all the traffic? Where's everybody? Then I held a sign before the Kauai Humane Society. I think it was on a Thursday again. And I believe school started again. But again, it's at 4 to like 5:30. School's already been out at 2. And there was a ton of traffic. I don't know why. One day had a lot of traffic, one day didn't. But, you know, at the end of the day, how do we resolve our traffic issues? I think, you know, we've been saying it a lot in the past few years. We need to build homes where jobs are so that we can get people to live where they work. So it reduces their commute and reduces the amount of traffic on the roads. And I think that's one of the only ways we'll be able to kind of get people away from single vehicle driving, because I mean right now you have to. If you have a house and you can't, if you're living with your parents in Kekaha and you can't find a house anywhere else, there's zero supply and you have to work in Lihui. What else are you gonna do? And you know, you might have kids that you need to get to a practice. You have to. I'm never gonna fault anybody for having to drive anywhere. I mean, that's the way Kauai is, but you know, again, it's our responsibility to build within the town cores. Not our responsibility to build, but our responsibility to set it up so that we have more homes, or the availability of more homes in our town core areas where jobs are, so that we can open up these houses for the working class that I talked about earlier, to live and work near the area they're at. It should reduce the amount of traffic. If you have somebody driving from Kauaʻi to Lihui and they can actually buy a house in Lihui, you know, you've taken one car off the road right there. And so that would be the solution I can think of. And we've tried a bunch of things to do that. It may not have always worked, you know. We tried it just here on Rice Street. We passed a law to allow, you know, development to develop to max density. They don't need to do affordable housing, you know, trying to encourage a developer to build. We haven't really seen that come to fruition yet, but you know, hopefully we'll get to see something like that happen. And again, you know, with these developments coming online soon, the development at the CPB building on the corner of the county, the development across from Taco Bell, hopefully, and I know a lot of these housing projects are starting to focus on, you know, what is our market. They start categorizing, you know, our first market that we want in these units are people that work in the area, or, you know, people that live in Lihui, or, you know, and it's gonna start working out that way. Of course, there's, you know, the income requirements, but it's also gonna be where do you work, and I think that's the way that we're gonna be able to kind of tackle and address that.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. All right, moving into our next topic of conversation is agriculture and food sustainability. Agriculture has the potential to play a larger role in Kauai's economy by providing local food, preserving open space, and contributing to economic diversification. However, challenges such as limited infrastructure, general disinterest from younger generations, and the need for startup financing persists. What is your vision for a thriving agricultural sector on Kauai, and what actions would you prioritize as county council member to support this vision?
Yeah, so I think agriculture is an important aspect of our life here on Kauai. I mean, mostly everything we have now has revolved around agriculture. And, my family's been in agriculture for many years. And so, that's an industry I'm always going to support. I think as far as actions I would take, I think my philosophy on agriculture is I'm not going to take any actions. I'm going to let farmers do what they need to do. Too many times we try to over legislate on farming. Too many times, as we mentioned, there's repercussions on groups that are, protesting a ag project on ag land, or, protesting water that they want to go out to a stream versus going to agriculture. And I think my job is going to be to advocate for the farmer and the rancher. And, it's not that they're going to take all the water. It's not that they're going to be unreasonable. It's that they need that water. They've been getting that water to survive. And we need to if we want to see agriculture, they need water. And so we need to continue to advocate for them. You see reservoirs shutting down. You see a lot of the infrastructure and the regulations on reservoirs are getting more and more regulations, more and more costly to maintain. And those are big, they supply a lot of ag farmers with water. And so it's going to be harder and harder for ag guys to survive. You've seen urban crawl. There's so many issues with why it's hard for a farmer. You're not even talking about weather and insects and things they can't even control. And so for me, it's always been to support the farmers. And, you see some new farmers coming up. Loon Farms on the west side is doing really well. They came in. You see their produce at Costco, the watermelons. You see their produce at Times, the onions. Also just supporting I think the best thing we can do as residents is support the farmers. Go to our farmers market, support these farmers. They work hard. I live near the farms where a lot of these farmers are. I see them. I see them at 6 in the morning, it's dark, heading to their farm. I see them at 10 at night, it's dark, leaving the farm. And I know that they have to go to this farmer's market on this day, so they're probably, they probably still have to go home and clean their produce and everything and get it ready. And so I think, the best thing we can do is just continue to support these farmers. And yeah, less fighting on, what are they doing? It's just let these farmers farm. Too many times people have tried to legislate farmers out of business, and I'm aware of it, and I'll never support that type of legislation.
Thank you, ARRYL. So destination management. One of the things that we have strived to do as a community and through the Kauaʻi Destination Management Action Plan is to manage tourism in a way that benefits residents and visitors alike by promoting sustainable practices and enhancing community engagement. What are your top 1 or 2 priorities for tourism on Kauaʻi? And if elected, how would you support them?
Yeah, so as far as destination management, I think the bell's already been rung, and Sue Kanoho has done an awesome job. Her job was to bring visitors to Kauaʻi, but her job for the past, I don't know how many years, has been saying we have too many visitors. And so I'll support any type of action where we can enhance the quality of life for our residents while still giving the visitors a great experience. And when I say that, I think of like KA Beach as a great example. Like that was a beach I would never go to because 1, I didn't want to get up really early and drive all the way out there and not have parking. And 2, you get out there and it would be absolutely crazy. There's people everywhere. And I think they've done a great job of how they've managed it. It's and I think it's a great job for everybody involved. It's a great job for the residents who go out there. I'm sure they enjoy it a lot more because there's less people. And I'm sure the visitors also enjoy it because I can see them getting kind of their experience getting ruined too. And there's too many people out there, not enough parking, people are parking all on the sides of the road. So, I think anything we can do to kind of, get back to, how do we continue to enhance our residents' experience too, without having visitors take it over. And I think we really got to see that during COVID. I mean, when we didn't have any visitors, you could go to any beach you wanted to, easy. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the reality of how we move forward. But again, if we can try to mimic or, do examples like KA and how we manage it, I think everyone will have a better experience. And again, it is about preserving the residents' lifestyle too, and quality of life also. I mean, our quality of life prior to COVID, I think it was pretty crazy at that time. You could go to any beach and you could not find parking, and yeah, traffic was a mess. But I think it's all about how do we move forward, how do we manage it, and I think there's a lot of momentum right now on how do we manage this. And before that wasn't the case. Before the case was we're going to advertise and get as many people here as possible. Now I think the whole momentum is on how do we manage this, how do we not let it get as crazy as it used to be.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, as we finish up, is there anything else you want to share with our viewers?
No, I just want to say, thank you guys for the opportunity, for having me here. And, I just humbly ask for your vote in this upcoming election. I'll do what I've always done. I'll continue to work hard for this community and continue to make the best decisions that I can for the island.
All right. Thank you, ARRYL. Great talking to you today.
Really great. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Mahalo nui loa for joining us today. We hope these interviews give you a clearer understanding of the candidates and their vision for the future of our beloved island.
We'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible support that made this series possible.
First, a big thank you to Hawaii Crop Improvement Association.
We also want to express our gratitude to the Hawaii Lodging and Tourism Association, Kauaʻi chapter, for their continued partnership.
A special thanks goes out to Hōʻike, Kauai Community Television, for providing the platform to bring these important discussions to you.
We're also grateful for Kauai Island Utility Cooperative for their unwavering support of our community initiatives.
Thank you to KKCR, Kauai Community Radio, for helping us reach more of you across the island.
We couldn't have done this without Kekaha Agriculture Association, who have been champions of local engagement.
And last, but certainly not least, a heartfelt thanks to Meridian Pacific for their generous support of this effort.
Remember, your voice matters. Make it heard. Be sure to vote in the upcoming election and help shape the future of Kauaʻi.
Thanks again, ARRYL, and a hui ho.
A hui ho!